trying to solve a single problem: constipation. A huge portion of that money is completely wasted. The solution is likely growing in your front yard right now. You see, you've been taught to hate a plant that your ancestors revered. It's called Taraxacum officinale, the common dandelion. For 100 years, we have been conditioned to see this yellow flower as an enemy, a blemish on the perfect green suburban lawn, a pest to be poisoned, pulled, and cursed. But this is a carefully constructed lie, and it's a very profitable one. Think about what that means. You pay a company for seeds to grow a perfect lawn. Then you pay another company for herbicides to kill the weeds that naturally appear. Then, because your modern diet lacks the bitter herbs that once filled it, you pay a third company for supplements and laxatives to fix the gut problems that follow. Every step is a transaction. Now, let's look closer at this weed. One single cup of its leaves contains over 100% of your daily vitamin A. It holds more than 500% of your vitamin K. It's packed with iron, calcium, and potassium. A superfood, for free. And that's just the leaves. The official story is that it's a nuisance. But here's the part that is rarely mentioned. The entire plant is a pharmacy. Its root contains a powerful prebiotic fiber called inulin. It doesn't just act as a laxative. It feeds the good bacteria deep in your gut, the foundation of a healthy microbiome. This is something supplement companies synthesize and sell back to you for a premium. Yet, here it is, attached to a yellow flower you've been told to kill on sight. The question is not whether the dandelion is useful. For thousands of years, that was never in doubt. The real question is why we were taught to forget. Every part of this plant has a purpose. The flowers can be made into wine. The leaves are a salad green more nutritious than kale. But the true power, the secret that threatens billion-dollar industries, is buried in the soil. It's in the root. This root contains complex compounds that perform functions some pharmaceutical drugs are designed to replicate. So a simple question arises. Why are companies like Monsanto and Bayer spending over $10 billion a year on herbicides to make absolutely sure this plant never, ever reaches your kitchen? To eradicate a simple plant lies buried in history. For centuries, the dandelion was not a nuisance. It was a staple, a medicine, a food source. Consider this. In the 10th century, Arab physicians, like Avicenna, were already documenting its medicinal uses in their comprehensive medical texts. Think about what that means. We are talking about advanced medical knowledge from 1,000 years ago. In Europe, the plant's reputation was equally strong. During the Middle Ages, monks cultivated dandelions in monastery gardens. They used its roots and leaves to treat liver ailments, digestive issues, and even skin conditions. This wasn't folk superstition. This was practical, observed medicine. You might be surprised to learn that Native American tribes across the continent also held the dandelion in high regard. The Ojibwe people, for instance, used a decoction of dandelion root for kidney problems. The Iroquois used it as a blood purifier. These are independent discoveries across continents, all pointing to the same plant. So, if this plant was so universally valued, how did it become demonized? The shift began with the rise of industrial agriculture in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Farmers sought monocultures, vast fields of a single crop. Any other plant was deemed a competitor, a weed. This was the first step in rebranding the dandelion. Then came the chemical revolution. After World War II, factories that once produced explosives pivoted to pesticides and herbicides. Companies like Dow Chemical and Monsanto saw a new market. They needed problems to solve. And the common dandelion, resilient and ubiquitous, became a perfect target. Think about the marketing. They didn't just sell you a chemical, they sold you an ideal. The perfect, uniform green lawn, a symbol of status. What they didn't tell you was the cost, not just to your wallet, but to the ecosystem and to your own health. The official narrative suggests these chemicals are harmless. Yet, research published in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives in 2012 linked glyphosate, a common herbicide, to liver damage in rats. This data was available, but it was largely ignored. Here's the part nobody talks about. The dandelion doesn't just grow everywhere. It thrives in disturbed soil. It actually helps repair land that has been depleted by monoculture farming and chemical use. Its deep taproot breaks up compacted earth. It draws up nutrients from deep below the surface. It's a natural bioremediator. It's trying to heal the very ground we've damaged. But the chemical companies needed you to believe it was a problem. They spent millions on advertising campaigns. They indoctrinated generations into believing that a garden free of dandelions was a sign of good husbandry. Read that sentence again. Good husbandry. When in reality, a lawn sprayed with toxic chemicals is anything but. This wasn't about science. It was about profit. Every time you pull a dandelion or spray it with poison, you are participating in a century-long marketing campaign. A campaign designed to strip a valuable resource from your hands and replace it with expensive, often ineffective alternatives. It's a classic bait and switch. But what happens when you reclaim this forgotten plant? What happens when you understand its true power? And understanding this chemistry begins with a single molecule, inulin. This complex carbohydrate, a type of fructan, is not digestible by human enzymes. It passes through your stomach and small intestine largely intact. But for the billions of bacteria residing in your colon, it is a feast. Specifically, beneficial bacteria like bifidobacteria and lactobacilli thrive on inulin. Their growth is directly linked to improved digestion and a stronger immune system. This is called a prebiotic effect. Think about what that means. You are feeding the good guys. Inulin, extracted from dandelion root, is now sold as a premium dietary fiber supplement. A 2015 study published in the journal Nutrients highlighted inulin's ability to significantly increase the population of these beneficial gut microbes. This research confirms what traditional healers knew for centuries. Yet, you are still told to eradicate the source. The official narrative would have you believe that only synthetic supplements can deliver these benefits. What they don't tell you is that the dandelion root offers a whole spectrum of other compounds. These work synergistically, meaning they enhance each other's effects. It's not just inulin. The root also contains taraxacin. This bitter compound is responsible for stimulating bile production in your liver. Bile is crucial for fat digestion and the removal of toxins from your body. Without sufficient bile, your digestive system struggles. Your liver works harder. Your gut health suffers. This is not some fringe theory. The German Commission E, a regulatory agency for herbal medicines, officially approved dandelion for digestive complaints and liver support in 1989. For decades, European medical practitioners have prescribed dandelion root extracts for these very conditions. But here in America, you are more likely to find it in the herbicide aisle than the pharmacy. The contrast is stark. You see, the pharmaceutical industry profits from treating symptoms, not from preventing them. A healthy gut, supported by free plants like the dandelion, reduces the need for many over-the-counter remedies. Imagine a world where people could simply walk into their garden and harvest their own medicine. This would mean billions of dollars lost for supplement manufacturers, billions lost for pharmaceutical companies selling antacids and laxatives. This is the sting. The dandelion also contains potent antioxidants, such as luteolin and chicoraic acid. These compounds combat oxidative stress in your body. Oxidative stress is a key factor in aging and many chronic diseases. A 2008 study in the Journal of Medicinal Food demonstrated dandelion's significant antioxidant activity. The plant is literally fighting cellular damage for free. This is why you are encouraged to pay for expensive antioxidant blends. Yet, the plant that offers a natural, complete package is labeled a weed. A 2010 review in the International Journal of Oncology even explored the potential anti-cancer properties of dandelion root extract. Early laboratory studies suggest it can induce apoptosis, programmed cell death, in certain cancer cells. Now, these are preliminary findings, and human trials are still ongoing. But the very idea that a common plant could possess such power is unsettling to industries built on patented drugs. They don't want you to know about this research, because if you know, you might start asking questions. You might start looking at your lawn differently. You might start realizing that the solutions to many of your health problems have been deliberately hidden from you. The question isn't just about what the dandelion can do. It's about what it represents. It represents autonomy, self-sufficiency, a challenge to the very system designed to keep you dependent. The power to heal, for free, grows right outside your door. But what happens when that power is systematically suppressed, has been systematically suppressed for generations? But people are beginning to remember. In 2017, Sarah Miller, a retired nurse from Vermont, stood in her backyard. Her doctor had just told her she needed a stronger prescription for her chronic digestive issues. She looked at her lawn, dotted with vibrant yellow, and she remembered her grandmother. Her grandmother, a woman born in 1905, had always brewed dandelion root tea. Sarah decided to try it. She dug up some roots, washed them carefully, and roasted them in her oven. The smell, earthy and slightly bitter, filled her kitchen. It was a smell she hadn't experienced since childhood. She brewed her first cup. It tasted different. Not unpleasant, but certainly not like the sweet teas she was used to. For 3 weeks, Sarah drank a cup every morning. No other changes to her diet. She kept a small journal. On day 21, she noticed something profound. Her morning discomfort was gone. Completely. She had not needed her prescription once. Her doctor, skeptical at first, was forced to acknowledge the change. This wasn't a placebo effect. This was a direct, measurable improvement in her health. And her story is not unique. Think about what that means. Individuals are rediscovering what entire societies once knew. You see, the official narrative tells you that only patented solutions are real solutions. But what if the real solution is free? What if it's been there all along? John Peterson, a foraging expert from Oregon, has dedicated his life to teaching others about wild edible plants. He holds workshops where he takes people into fields, often in public parks, and points out the dandelion. People treat it like dirt, he says, but it's gold. He teaches them how to identify it, how to harvest it, and how to prepare it. He shows them how to roast the roots, how to sauté the leaves, how to make a simple, effective tea. He watches their faces as they taste the bitter greens, then the earthy root coffee. A realization dawns on them. This plant, this weed, is food. It's medicine. And it's free. The supplement industry doesn't want you to attend John's workshops, because every person he educates is a customer they lose. They spend billions marketing their products, creating a perceived need. But the dandelion bypasses that entire system. This plant represents economic liberation, a small act of defiance against a multi-billion-dollar machine. The pharmaceutical companies have invested heavily in research and development. They have created complex molecules. Yet, a simple plant, growing by the roadside, can often deliver similar or even superior results. without the side effects, without the cost. Why is this data so often ignored in mainstream health discussions? This is the part that seems deliberately obscured. The information is out there, in scientific journals, in historical texts, but it doesn't fit the profit model. So it's dismissed as alternative or unproven, despite millennia of human experience. You are encouraged to trust the experts. But who are those experts truly serving? The power of the dandelion extends beyond individual health. It speaks to a broader question of resilience, of self-sufficiency. Imagine if every community understood the medicinal plants growing in their own backyards. Imagine the impact on healthcare costs, on food security. This isn't just about a plant. It's about autonomy. It's about regaining control over your own well-being. The challenge remains. Can we collectively overcome a century of deliberate misinformation? Can we look at that yellow flower not as a nuisance, but as a gift? Can you see it differently now? The answers are literally at your feet. The answers may be at your feet, but taking that first step requires you to unlearn a century of conditioning. This isn't just about one plant. It's about a fundamental choice. You see, the same system that demonized the dandelion has also engineered the food that fills your shelves. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations reports that since the 1900s, some 75% of plant genetic diversity has been lost, as farmers worldwide have left their multiple local varieties for genetically uniform, high-yielding crops. Think about what that means. We replaced resilient, diverse, nutrient-rich plants with fragile monocultures that require a constant stream of chemical inputs. We traded quality for quantity, and no one seems to ask if it was a good deal. This trade-off had a hidden cost, one that isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in lost knowledge. You can probably identify a dozen corporate logos from 100 paces. But could you identify the 5 most common plants growing in your own neighborhood? This is not an accident. This is by design. A population that cannot feed itself, that cannot heal itself with the resources around it, is a dependent population, a profitable population. The knowledge of your ancestors, the practical wisdom of using plants like dandelion, was not lost. It was displaced, replaced with brand names, prescriptions, and a deep-seated distrust of anything that is free. But a quiet rebellion is taking root. It's happening in community gardens in Detroit, where vacant lots are turned into food sources. It's happening with urban foragers in London, who map the edible plants growing in public parks. They are reclaiming this knowledge, one plant at a time. This is more than a health trend. It's an act of sovereignty. Every dandelion root you dig is a vote for a different system. A system where wealth is not measured by the perfection of your lawn, but by the resilience of your ecosystem and your community. But the old system does not yield easily. In many suburban towns across North America, you can still be fined for letting your lawn grow wild, for cultivating the very biodiversity that supports pollinators and soil health. These ordinances are often presented as matters of public tidiness. But look closer. Who truly benefits when a yard full of medicinal plants is mowed down and replaced with a chemically treated monoculture? The answer is always the same. The companies selling the chemicals. The companies selling the seeds. The companies selling the supplements to fix the problems the first two created. It all comes back to that single yellow flower. A plant so powerful, entire industries were built to convince you of its worthlessness. It offers nutrition. It heals the soil. It asks for nothing in return. It is a symbol of nature's stubborn, persistent generosity. And our relationship with it reflects a much larger question. We have learned to